These current issues before us are being dealt with seriously, thoroughly, and as swiftly as possible. But these things do take time. We must be patient with due process and have faith that our men and women policing your city will continue to do excellent work and continue to earn the trust and respect of their community. Please rest assured that these current issues will not detract the Fredericton Police Force from focusing on our primary mandate, and that is to serve and protect this city. I thank you very much for your patience in awaiting our press conference today, and I'll be open to receive any questions, myself in English and Deputy Chief Leanne Fitch.
Chief Fitch, I've heard that the officer that was picked up for alleged impaired driving had just returned from being suspended. Is that true?
As you can appreciate, Kevin, I can't get into the specifics because there's pending criminal and police act matter before us. What I can confirm for you is that of the members who are currently on suspension, there are some who are repeat police offenders and have current records of discipline on file.
Chief, what do you view as being the key point in turning this around for the department?
Thank you for asking that. This is unprecedented. I would expect to have this many officers off at any given time. I think that this is indicative of a change in culture and accountability in policing, transparency and openness. As I said in my statement, I take a lot of strength in the fact that we have officers that are out there on the street doing the right thing, making those tough calls, and holding their peers accountable. So going forward, I think that we're well into change in policing culture, changing attitudes around accountability. We have very good wellness programs in place in the police department. We have an employee family assistance program. We continue to work the best we can collaboratively with the union. Our department has a very good professional standards branch, which includes an employee development advisor as well as a training section. Our supervisors are well trained and also know the standards and expectations that myself and the deputy chief and our senior management team have. So I think going forward, to be honest, I think we stay the course. I hope that there's not going to be a sixth or seventh incident, but if it happens, Mike, we will continue to do exactly our best efforts to correct and hold accountable and support and guide our members. So doing things differently going forward, I think we're on the right course, and it's unfortunate that all of these things are colliding together at once, but through tough times also comes opportunity for improvement.
What does it mean to regular staffing that you have 5% of your force off?
Thank you for asking that question. It's true we have 5 members who are suspended, so that means that we have 5 less people that are actively out on the streets or doing other meaningful work within the police department. I am very proud to say that the officers who remain on staff are stepping up to those challenges. We are constantly revisiting our workload allocation and considering where our resources are placed. So it's not having a negative impact on our ability to police the city, but it does have an impact on the officers who are required to carry a heavier workload, and that is a challenge. But occasionally we have absences that we don't account for through sickness or maternity or other reasons. So we are nimble and flexible enough that we can reprioritize and put our resources where we need them at any given time.
Chief, I'll be polite. I have a police scanner, and every time there's somebody being caught, or you had the K9 unit that night, and the name is mentioned all through the police scanner. How come in this case it wasn't?
I can't, I don't know, I haven't heard the recordings, Mr. LeBlanc, but what I can say is that names aren't made public until such time that there's an appearance in court. That's when those names are made public. What I can tell you is that our officers at Ron Scene knew that they were dealing with an off-duty officer through the registered vehicle. And for me to say anything further than that would prejudice a fair trial and subsequent proceedings. So I really can't comment on that, simply because I don't know the answer, but I do know that the names of people who are accused are released once charges are laid in court and there's been a court appearance. So I wouldn't expect that process to be any different.
Can you run through the people who have been suspended, the charges, and where it stands now?
Again, if you don't mind, I'm just going to refer to my notes because we have a few, as you know. Some of the names have not yet been released because matters are still under investigation. So some of them I just simply can't reveal at this time. There's one case that has been very public over the last few years with Constable Smiley. So that isn't new news to the media or to the public. And that matter is going before arbitration this fall. There's another officer who was accused of shoplifting down in the state of Maine. We have not made that name public, and it's still before the arbitrators. We're going to arbitration on that.
Arbitration with?
Through the Police Commission. In the Police Act, and some of these questions you might want to field with the Police Commission, but there's processes in the Police Act where we can settle things agreeably between the chief and the officer and come up with what the reasonable discipline is. If we can't reach an agreement, it will go to an arbitration, and an arbitrator is agreed upon between the member of the union, the police chief, and or, depending on the case, the Police Commission. So the cases that are set before arbitration are cases that myself and the subject officer have not been able to come to terms with agreement on discipline. So we have to go before an arbitrator, and those arbitration are led by various people who the parties agree on.
So her trial has been dropped or over? It was a hung jury, we understand, in the States?
I'm not really at liberty to talk about the criminal proceedings in the United States, which is outside of my jurisdiction, but what I can confirm for you is that the Police Act matter is going ahead, and that we'll be going to arbitration in that matter. The next individual who is currently on suspension, the name has not been released to my knowledge as well, is relative to the New Brunswick Police Association for the misappropriation of funds. That matter has been turned over to the RCMP for criminal investigation. If you have any questions or inquiries about that, you can turn those questions to the RCMP. One other thing that people don't often understand with the Police Act process is that if a criminal investigation is ongoing, the Police Act investigation is suspended until such time as the criminal matter is dealt with. So that particular Police Act investigation is in abeyance, and that officer remains on suspension. Some weeks ago, we had another impaired driver with an off-duty officer. He remains under suspension, and that matter is under investigation currently by the Miramichi Police Force. And again, if anybody has any inquiries about the status of those investigations, feel free to follow up with them. We also have suspended the officer from Sunday evening for impaired driving. I think it's really important for me to emphasize right now, and I'm hoping that this gives the public and the media some level of comfort in knowing that the 5 cases that we have with people who are currently suspended was all off-duty conduct. These are things that have happened in their personal life, not during the course of their duties, and it's unfortunate. Life happens. People can make mistakes and make bad decisions, and it's my job as the police chief to hold these people accountable. The New Brunswick Police Act is written in such a way that officers are accountable for their behavior both on and off duty. So it is somewhat different than it is in the private sector and in other companies. But I think that that's important for the public to know. Do we have other complaints? I expect that somebody will ask that, so I'll answer that. The nature of policing is such that we have complaints that come in from time to time that people are unhappy with our service. So
I'll be quiet.
If it's a service complaint or conduct complaint, some of these are founded, some of them are unfounded, some of them are made in bad faith, are disingenuous and vexatious. So again, that's part of my responsibility to wade through those. And that's no different than any other police agency in the country. So But in terms of our suspensions, that's specifically what we have. It's at my discretion whether or not those people are suspended.